वेलकम टू रोहिला स्टेनो क्लासेस। आपका डिक्टेशन शुरू होगा 3 सेकंड बाद। स्टार्ट। ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स वुड recall that I had stated in my budget speech that the credit institutions will have the freedom to pass on the burden of interest tax to the borrowers by adjusting suitably the rate of interest. It has been brought to my notice that in many cases where term loans have already been sanctioned, the credit institutions may be able to vary the rate of interest because loan agreements do not contain a provision permitting such variation. I propose to move an amendment to the bill to provide overriding legal authority to the institutions to vary the rate of interest if they so desire in order to pass on the burden of interest tax to the borrowers. Further, I also propose to exempt from the imposition of interest tax cooperative land mortgage banks, cooperative land development banks, and cooperative societies engaged in the business of banking which cater primarily to the needs of farmers and village artisans. My proposal to extend the coverage of the expenditure tax to the expenditure incurred in restaurants providing superior facilities like air conditioning has been generally welcomed because these restaurants are patronized by the affluent sections of the society. It has, however, been pointed out that the criteria for identification of restaurants expenditure in which would come within the purview of the proposed tax is cumbersome in the form in which it is contained in the bill. I therefore propose to modify it and adopt a single criterion which will be that the restaurant is air conditioned. I will be moving necessary amendment to the bill for this purpose. I propose to make some modifications to the proposals in the bill relating to deduction of tax at source from certain payments. The requirement to deduct tax from interest on bank deposits will apply only to interest on term deposits other than recurring deposits. Further, cooperative land mortgage banks, cooperative land development banks, primarily agricultural credit societies and primary credit societies will be taken out of the purview of this requirement. We would thus exclude from the ambit of tax deduction at source most of the depositors from rural areas. Further, I am sure
that these modifications will ensure that the small taxpayers are not put to any harassment as a result of the proposed requirement of deduction of tax at source from bank interest and withdrawals from the National Savings Scheme. Stop.
दोस्तों, यदि डिक्टेशन अच्छा लगा हो तो वीडियो को लाइक करें, शेयर करें और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करके बेल आइकन अवश्य दबा दें ताकि लेटेस्ट वीडियो का नोटिफिकेशन आप तक तुरंत पहुंच सके।